Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is KarQ, and today we're going to go over one common mistake for every defense hero. First up is Bastion, and I've got special guest Kolorblind here to give in his input.
Alrighty, so with Bastion, a lot of mistakes that I see that people make in general when playing Bastion is that they don't really use the tank mode, the ultimate, the way it's supposed to be used. It's kind of confusing how to use it. Most people just use it by, like, they activate tank and they just kind of treat it like a second turret. But that's not how it's supposed to be done. Tank mode is all about mobility and all about one-shotting. When you are in turret mode, you focus nothing but tanks. When you're in tank mode, you focus nothing but squishies. Your job is to use rocket jump to get in there, get as close to the enemy as you can, and then one-shot them if you get direct. At any distance, there's no fall-off. 205 damage, because it's much easier to hit people when you're way up than it is on even ground. Like, you should be going for directs, but if you miss, you gotta hit splash damage. So if you're on even ground with an enemy, or on low ground, if you miss, whoosh, that rocket's going bye-bye. It's going way to the back of the wall. But if you're on high ground, if in the middle of the rocket jump like a badass, then if that direct doesn't hit him, it's gonna shoot him in the feet. It's gonna do like 75 damage. So you gotta make sure you're bouncing around like nobody's business, dude.
Alright, Kolorblind, thank you so much for the enthusiastic answers. Next up, we've got Hanzo, and I've got Yajji Gaming.
So a common mistake that a lot of Hanzo players make is only looking to scatter at the enemy's feet. Instead, you should look for opportunities to use walls and corners of any other surface you could possibly find. You'd be surprised what surfaces the arrows could bounce off of. The benefits of using other surfaces rather than just the floors adds an element of surprise. You'll have to practice with these scatter arrows on new surfaces to find what works and what doesn't, but overall it adds more pick potential. For example, on point B of Volskaya, supports and hit scan tend to hide on the bridge behind cover, which can make it quite difficult to land a kill. However, using the walls in this situation can make landing a kill that much easier.
Thank you for that, Yajji, and next we've got Pvptwitch to speak about Junkrat.
Common mistake for Junkrat is misusing Riptire and not understanding how to get the most value out of it. A lot of Junkrats use it in the wrong time or wrong location. I use a couple of different strategies for my Riptires. The first being a flanking Riptire, and the second being a stalling Riptire, which are kind of the names I gave them. The flanking Riptire is where you want to use your tire when the enemy team is about to commit to a push, blowing it up within the first couple seconds without allowing them to react. The stalling Riptire should be used if the enemy team is capping a point or everyone is fighting at a specific spot. Since Riptire lasts for 10 seconds, I'll run the tire into the wall for about 5 seconds. This does two things. First, it makes the tire about 70% quieter so the enemy doesn't know where it's coming from. And the second thing is it distracts the enemy team by forcing them to look for a tire that isn't coming for a delayed period of time. Meanwhile, they're fighting your team. Then you can follow up with a finishing blow.
Alright, thank you PvP for covering Junkrat. The next hero in line is Mei, and a common mistake that I find a lot of players make is using the crowd freeze very predictably. In other words, many players often use the ability and wait out the entire 5-second duration, allowing enemies to perfectly time your invulnerability and finish you off as soon as you're out of the ice. What you should do when appropriate is go into the ice block and cancel it just a little bit earlier to throw the enemy's timing off and catch them off guard. Next up is Torbjorn, and I've got Fuey500 to speak about him.
Alright, so a common mistake that a lot of Torbjorn players tend to make is that they spend entire teamfights just trying to rebuild their turret after having it destroyed really early on. They rely too much on their turret and even sit there and try and build it up while it's taking damage, making it incredibly slow since you have to heal it up first. The worst offenders are those who spend all their time healing their level 2 turret during teamfights. You have to remember that Torbjorn has a rivet gun which actually does a lot of damage, and you'll likely bring more damage to a fight by quickly dropping down a level 1 turret and shooting, and if you're uncontested and have Molten Core up, you can even body block and build your turret up to a level 3, which has superior damage and support fire for your team.
Thank you Fuey500 for your insight, and next in line is Widow, and I've got Widow Specialist Kephrii to take it over from here.
Hey, what's up guys? So a common mistake for Widow is not using her hook to effectively juke dive heroes, such as Winston, Genji, or even D.Va. For example, one way you can outplay him is with the grapple. So whenever you see a Winston leap up to you, you drop down, he goes up, then you go back up when he goes down. It allows you to get about 3 or 4 shots off depending on how quick you are. So the reason that this is so important is because Winston's leap is on a 6-second cooldown, whereas Widow's hook is on a 12-second cooldown. So you need all of the time possible to get away from Winston to get those shots in. So in conclusion, if you can effectively manage your grapple cooldown, it will significantly increase your chances of survival.
Thank you very much, Kephrii, and that wraps it up for the defense heroes. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. If you missed the common mistakes for support, tank, or offense heroes, you can click them here.